Hey guys, my name is Meg. I am the Scentsy director on the Sunshine Coast, and I have just recently shared a video all about Scentsy fundraising, and I just wanted to follow it up with like a little how-to video, I guess, on how I've just recently done my Scent Circle fundraiser for my son's local soccer club. So it was a really big fundraiser. It's the biggest one that I've ever done. And I ended up being able to donate over $550 to the club, and I've also got about $300 worth of product for them for a raffle that they're doing towards the end of the year. So all up, over $850 worth of stuff. I'm really, really stoked with how it's gone, especially considering it's the first Scent Circle fundraiser that I've done. First one of this sort of magnitude. So yeah, I'm happy with it. There's a few things that I would change, but I have had a few people ask me how I went about doing it. So I thought that I would just do a short video today and just tell you how I did my fundraiser. I also am going to tell you how I would have done things a little bit differently, yeah, because it was my first one, and so it was a learning curve, a learning experience. There are some things that worked really well that I was really happy with, and then there's a couple of things that I would do differently next time. So I am going to use my experience to help you tailor your own and get one started for yourself. So my son's soccer club is a relatively small club. Obviously it's completely non-profit. They have really old facilities there. So what the club's trying to do at the moment is raise money to redo the amenities block and the change rooms there, because they're currently pretty yucky. So this is what we're working on. So we're doing quite a few fundraisers this year, and this was just one way that I suggested that I could help the club. Now, when we had a fundraiser meeting towards the start of the year, and I went in there saying, I'd love to help you by doing a Scentsy Scent Circle one, I kind of didn't have a huge idea of what I was doing. I was sort of just making it up as I go. I've done a lot of fundraisers though, so I knew that I could help in some way. It was just the details that I was going to need to work out. So they had a fundraising meeting, and that was when I approached the club and offered them my services, I guess, for doing the fundraiser. So what I did when I went to the meeting was I had written down some notes. I'd written down what I was going to do. I only focused on Scent Circles purely because we were getting this out to over 300 players. I didn't want to complicate it. I didn't want to give them a whole catalogue and have them try to pick through things in the catalogue. I didn't want people thinking that they had to spend a whole lot of money. $5 for a Scent Circle is pretty doable for most people. So I went in purely with Scent Circles, keeping it simple, yeah? Keep it Scentsy simple. So I wrote down Scent Circles, how much they cost, $5 each, 6 for $25. And then per 6-pack I could donate $5 in commission, which, as I worked out, is 23% commission from sales, yeah? So I said to them, I'm donating 100% of my commission. I'm not keeping any money whatsoever. I'm also not keeping any of the products earned from the host rewards, but I broke it down to that 23% commission because that's what we get once we do our PRV and our PEG rate. And I didn't want them thinking, oh, she said she was donating 100%. How come we're only getting $5 per 6-pack? So I explained to them that is what I get is 23%. So that's what I put on the letter to everybody as well. 23% of all sales will be donated back to the club, and I'm not keeping any or making any money whatsoever. I also offered to them with the host rewards from the party that it could be put towards getting them product that they could either use at the club or put back into the club for raffles and prizes and stuff later on in the year, which is what they said they wanted to do. I knew they were doing a big raffle towards the end of the year, and they had asked me if as a business I would donate something to them. So I said that I would cover the half price items once I put the party in, that would be my donation. I would donate those products and I would cover the half price. So that's a tax write-off for me as well, my business. Plus I've got some awesome prizes now that are going to be raffled off. Later on, the club is handling all that. I'm not having anything to do with the raffle. And that's going to get Scentsy out into even more people's homes. So 23% commission, 23% of sales, 100% of commission, plus the products was going to be donated. Now I did up 2 flyers, and this took a little bit of my time. I'm not super computer savvy. I tried to edit the template that was in the workstation. I couldn't work out how to edit it, so I just made my own. So I'm just going to share my screen with you guys and show you. Hopefully you can see that there. This normally works when I do a training. You got my little head in the corner and then my spreadsheet. So I designed it in Excel, and then I just inserted a picture. I inserted a text box, and then I put some text in there about what the scent circles were. So this is what was being printed out and given to every single player at the club. And then I also put a cover letter in with it as well. So I picked what I believe were the top 15 fragrances, or the ones that I sell the most of. I didn't want them to have all of them to pick from. Plus, I couldn't fit them all on one page anyway. So I just narrowed it down. I needed people's name. I needed their phone number. And what I should have also had on the top of this sheet was I should have had a space that said player name. So I got quite a few of these sheets back in the end that had no name on it of who the actual player was, and they collected. So they had, you know, 3 or 4 or 5 people that bought scent circles for them, but they were neighbours, relatives, etc. They didn't want to have to come down to the club to pick up their order, so I needed to know who the player name was. Some came back in the envelope I gave to the players with their name on it, but lots didn't. So it should have just had this up the top for the player name. But just a little description of how they do it, with how scent circles work with my contact details, and then the scents. So I'm just going to see if I can remember how I turned that on its side. I don't know. Hang on. Maybe did I just right click on it? Did I do format cells? There we go. Text alignment. I think that's how I did it. Like I said, right? Not super computer savvy, but I worked out how to turn the text so that it was going up and down so that I could fit them all into a one page. It all had to be on one page. And then I just saved this as a PDF so that it could be printed out, right? So that is that one. The other one, let me find it for you. So I sent out a letter with every single one of those order forms, right? Because I wanted people to know what they were. Most people don't know what Scentsy is. They don't know what a scent circle is. If they had had an order form and said, this is your Scentsy scent circle fundraiser, they would have gone, what the dickens is that? And maybe chucked it in the bin. So this was a letter that I sent out with every form as well. So I told them what scent circles were, told them $5 each or buy 6 for $25. The club will receive 23% of sales. Fill out your order form, phone number, etc. I said preferred payment is cash, but if they wanted to pay by credit card, they could tick that box and I could call them. There was a few that did that. I just put in there that I don't receive any financial gain. Everything is going back to the club. The more you sell, the more money the club makes. Ask friends and family. I gave them a party link so they could share it on social media if they wanted to. And I said that orders will be available 2 weeks from after the fundraiser closed. And then I also had a couple of little prizes. So this is a personal choice to do. You don't have to do this, but I thought that if the kids knew you know, that it was a competition to see who could fundraise the most, that there was a prize. I just thought that might incentivize them a little bit to sell a few more scent circles and to approach their neighbours and their grandparents, etc. So for each age level, the one who fundraised the most was going to get a prize, which was a scent pack, because I want them to put it in their soccer bag, because I have kids that play soccer and the soccer bags stink like socks and shoes. And then I happen to have one of these soccer ball warmers left over from a flash sale from a couple of years ago. And the person who raised the most money in the fundraiser was going to get the soccer ball warmer. So again, that's completely something that I decided to do. My only thing that I would change for next time is there's too much information on this form. Yeah, so people can't be bothered reading it. I needed to cut it down to even less information than what is already on there, because the attention span of people is like minimal, and I'm fairly certain that so many people didn't actually read that form and the instructions. So I designed those, and then they needed to be printed out and handed out to all the players. So I went to the discount store here and I bought a whole heap of envelopes, and they're like just little DL envelopes to put everyone's forms in, and then I wrote the child's name on the front of the form, and then I put them in an A4 envelope all together, and I also put a letter in there for the club manager with a list of all the players on their team, and then a tick thing to say that the player had taken it and that they brought it back. And I also put in a couple of product sheets, a business card, and I put in a scent circle for the manager to try. Now, I said on my thing that the manager is welcome to have that scent circle and then just add a $5 order onto their order, or just send it back when they hand it back in. Now, I should have been more vigilant with the forms going out and the forms coming back in. So what I would do next time, and I'm hoping that we get to do this again next year, is that I would have a spreadsheet with every team, with their players, and then the coaches and the managers, so that I could tick off when they brought their forms back in, when they took them, and to make sure that their scent circle got brought back in as well. With 340 envelopes going out, I needed to make sure that the team manager was the one who was coordinating it, so I should have been in touch more with the team managers. So again, you know, these are things that I'll do differently next time. I'm really, really lucky that one of the committee members at the club owns a printing company, so he printed out all of the letters and the order forms. If I had had to pay for them myself, I probably would have only donated, say, 20%, 21% of the commission, whatever it worked out to be, so that I wasn't out of pocket for the printing. But when you, you know, like if you're approaching a club that you don't have a huge involvement with, or just your local club or daycare or whatever it is, ask them who they use as a preferred printer, because there might be somebody within that club community that owns a printing company, or that does their printing for them cheap, and you might be able to get it at a discount. So I was really lucky that he printed all of these out for us with no cost to me. So yeah, I would have had a better system for collection of all of the orders. What I also will do next time, because this is what our club does when we have the chocolate box. Speaking of which, we just picked some up today. We're now doing the chocolate box fundraiser, right? Everybody has to take a box of chocolates to sell them. Otherwise, you need to donate $20 to the club. If you can't be bothered fundraising, you donate 20 bucks. This is what we should have done with the Scent Circle fundraiser. And I know the committee would have totally been on board with this one. So if anybody doesn't want to order a Scent Circle, or they can't be bothered fundraising, or they don't want to bring their form back, they need to donate $5 to the club, because $5 is not a lot. And that way So out of the 340 envelopes that went out, I think I had about 60-ish orders. So there was a lot that didn't partake in it. If we had have had everybody make a $5 donation in lieu of ordering a scent circle, if they didn't want to fundraise or they weren't interested in them, then we would have made for the club over $1,700 as the minimum, let alone the actual orders and the commission. So that is something that I will definitely do next time. Now, the time frame, we gave everybody 2 weeks. This didn't work because some teams didn't collect their envelopes from the club until a week or a week and a half into the fundraiser. So we should have made sure that people collected them straight away, and then also we probably should have ran it for probably 3 weeks. Don't run it for too long because people will throw their fundraising forms into their bag and they will completely forget about it, and then you will struggle to collect and round up orders. So either make sure everybody gets them straight away or stretch it out to 3 weeks, but I wouldn't do it any more than 3 weeks. Now I've done, with the party rewards, I said to offer them to the club. If you don't want to pay for the other half price of the half price items, you can say to the club, look, this is your option if you'd like to use them. Or if it's a daycare, say there's some half price items there, do you want to get them for other raffles that you have at the club, or to actually put into the club or into your daycare or whatever it is that you're fundraising for. Otherwise, you can say to them, if you don't want those half price items, you know, I won't let them go to waste. You will use them yourself, but always offer them to the club as a way to further help them raise more money. When my scent circles arrived, so I had a huge big box of hundreds of scent circles arrive, and I didn't go through them and check the orders versus the packing slips versus what was actually in the box. And when it came to actually packing them up a few days later, or I think it was, some of them it was a week later because we went away on holidays, they weren't all there. So I'm not sure what happened, whether it was the guys in the warehouse that were just like, yep, grab 4 of them, 5 of them, 10 of them, and then they accidentally grabbed 9 of them and 6 of them. And so just be super vigilant when they arrive that you're ticking off, yep, I needed 15 coconut lemongrass, I've got 15 coconut lemongrass. And then that way, if there are any missing or any discrepancies, you can get onto Scentsy ASAP. So make sure they're correct. Now, the way I wrap them up. So when I had a 6-pack, I tied them, or I labeled them. Make sure you put your sticker onto every single scent circle because they, you know, they might have ordered 6, but they might be keeping a couple and then giving some to neighbours or their grandma. So put your sticker on every single scent circle, even though it's packaging and they're probably going to throw it in the bin. You don't want anything going out that doesn't have your contact details on it. So then I just tied them in between the middle of the scent circle, tied them with a little bit of curling ribbon, and then I attached a little thank you note. These are in the Success Store. These are super awesome. And I just wrote on their name and thank you for supporting the club. And then I put in, I've got these little gift cards from Success Store as well. So I just wrote on all of them that they get 10% off their next order. You can put on whatever you like, free shipping or whatever. This is a personal special, but it's going out to people one-on-one. And then, because I had all these scent circles and then somebody had ordered, you know, 5 different 6-packs, I was like, well, how am I going to coordinate them and how am I going to keep them all nice and organized? How are people going to find them? Because I'm not delivering these one-on-one. I'm going to let everybody know, right, your scent circles are at the club, come and pick them up. I needed a system. So I had just purchased a pack of brown paper bags when we went on holiday, funnily enough, and I actually thought to myself, what am I going to do with 100 brown paper bags? So I used these. So I will show, this is one that I'm hanging on to because the lady's going to pick up for me. I just need to make sure I cover her name. Anyway, I wrote their name and their phone number. I wrote with thanks on the bottom. I stuck it up with some of our scratch and sniff. And then these were all in a box in alphabetical order at the club for everybody to collect. So these came in super handy. Also, the ones at the end that I didn't tie with ribbon, because I decided I was going to put them in here anyway, I put the sand circles in, and I put the thank you card, business card, and the little discount thing into the bag with them. And then, yeah, in alphabetical order, in a box at the club for everybody to come and collect. So that is, in a nutshell, how I did my Scent Circle fundraiser. Then, obviously, once commission run, I worked out how much money I made from the fundraiser, because I had 2 separate parties closed for the people who gave me their orders back first, and then the people who dilly-dallied and took a little bit longer. So there's 2 separate parties, plus one of the committee members, she ordered quite a few $100s worth of stuff as well, right at the beginning of the fundraiser. So I added all the PRV up, added up the commission, donated the commission to them, and then also with using my Maven, because I'd entered everybody into the workstation individually for their orders with their phone numbers, those that gave me their phone numbers, I sent them a text message on Maven saying, thank you so much for supporting our club. This is how much we were able to fundraise. You know, your scent circles will be ready at the club for collection, or your player that you ordered through will be able to collect them. If you have any questions or anything, please touch base with me. So everybody that ordered has been contacted by me as well, so they've got my contact details. So yeah, make sure you put individual names and phone numbers into your workstation as you're collecting your orders. And yeah, so that is it. It's been really successful. For me, like I said, biggest fundraiser I've done. Next year, I reckon we can make it even bigger for the club, now that people will know what the scent circles are. Everybody that I've spoken to that's already got their scent circles absolutely loves them. I've got so many new contacts from it. People are trying Scentsy for the very first time. People that I'd spoken to previously about trying Scentsy and hadn't have now had a scent circle and love it. And I mean, they're only small, tiny little part of what Scentsy can offer, but as I always say this to my team, I joined Scentsy after only ever having tried a scent circle. I had never tried warmer or wax or anything, just a scent circle, and I joined. So you just never know what could come out of these tiny little round potions of awesomeness. So yeah, that's how I did it. Hopefully that's been helpful. Those 2 flyers that I used, I can upload as well. Obviously, you want to make sure you edit them. I can put blank copies up without the team logo and my details for you to edit. And if you have any questions, don't hesitate to touch base. But make sure you watch my other fundraising video from yesterday, because that will tell you about, you know, the hows and the whys of fundraising. This is just specifically to Scent Circle fundraisers for a larger organization. So I hope this has been helpful. Thank you for tuning in to watch the video and following me on YouTube. I am slowly getting slightly better at videos, maybe slightly. So yeah, and I love sharing and trying to help you guys grow your Scentsy business. And fundraisers is definitely an amazing way to do it. So thanks for tuning in. Enjoy the rest of your day. Love you guys lots. And yeah, I'll talk to you soon. Bye.